History's strangest rituals. You won't believe these were real. History isn't just battles, inventions, and empires. It's also full of bizarre and mind-boggling rituals, from Goose Kings to mummified crocodiles. Let's dive into some of history's weirdest traditions. The Goose King, a feathered frenzy. Imagine a medieval marketplace in the heart of the Holy Roman Empire, packed with cheering crowds as young men scramble to catch a honking, flapping goose, barehanded. This sounds like something straight out of Monty Python, but it was an actual festival in parts of the Holy Roman Empire, especially in Bavaria and Franconia. The champion was crowned as the Goose King and paraded through town wearing feathers and a goose-shaped hat. The celebration featured feasts, music, and drinking, with the Goose King presiding over the festivities. But why the goose? Historians trace this to ancient fertility rituals. Geese symbolized prosperity, renewal, and good harvests. Over time, it merged with St. Martin's Day, marking the end of the farming season. However, some versions turned dark, like goose pulling, where contestants tore off a live goose's head. Thankfully, today's versions use stuffed birds, preserving the strange tradition but without the cruelty. An emperor's humble act, washing the feet of the poor. Picture the Holy Roman Emperor, one of the most powerful rulers in Europe, not in royal robes, but dressed as a servant, kneeling to wash the feet of 12 poor men, then served them a meal, offering bread, wine, and gifts like silver coins or new clothes. This wasn't an act of rebellion. It was an annual ritual before Easter, inspired by Jesus at the Last Supper. Why would an emperor do this? It reinforced his spiritual duty, showing that his power came from God and he was a servant of the church. But it was also political theater, an opportunity to display humility and virtue before his subjects. Yet, some accounts suggest these poor men were actually disguised nobles. So, was this true humility or just another imperial performance? Crocodile gods and mummified reptiles. Ancient Egypt, a civilization of beauty, wisdom, and mystery. A land of pyramids, pharaohs, and crocodile worship? Yes. In Crocodilopolis? Yes, a real place. The crocodile god Sobek was believed to control the Nile's floods, ensuring prosperity. His living avatar? A pampered crocodile named Petsuchos, adorned with gold earrings and jewels. Priests hand-fed it fresh meat and honey cakes. When one sacred croc died, it was mummified and replaced, ensuring the divine connection remained unbroken. Thousands of mummified crocodiles have been discovered, proving how seriously Egyptians took their reptilian reverence. Yet, not everyone adored these scaly gods. Some Egyptians saw crocodiles as monsters and hunted them instead. Worship and fear, side by side. Extreme grooming. Egyptian priests' hairless devotion. Ancient Egyptian priests took hair removal to an extreme. Every hair, head, face, eyebrows, had to be shaved daily. Why? Purity. Hair was seen as unclean in sacred spaces. While common Egyptians grew their hair, priests remained bald as a sign of devotion. Beyond spirituality, this also prevented lice in Egypt's hot, sandy climate. They used bronze razors or sharpened obsidian and even plucked their eyelashes to remain completely bald. The tradition even influenced the rise of elaborate wigs worn outside temple duties. For these priests, shaving wasn't just hygiene. It was a spiritual discipline, carried out with razor-sharp precision. Divination by sheep liver, Babylon's bizarre fortune-telling. In ancient Babylon, kings didn't rely on strategy alone. They consulted sheep livers. They looked to something far more organic. Enter hepatoscopy, divination through sheep livers. To the Babylonians, the liver was the most important organ, the seat of the soul, and a direct link to the gods. If a king faced a major decision, or alliances, temple building, he didn't rely on strategy alone. He consulted Baru priests, specialists in reading divine signs. A sacrificed sheep's liver was carefully examined for bumps, marks, and veins, each symbolizing different aspects of life or harvests, even the king's fate. Babylonians took it so seriously they made clay liver models to train priests in the art. Did it work? Well, Babylon ruled for over 1,000 years. Either their predictions were spot on, or they were just incredibly lucky. The Akitu Festival, humiliating the king for good luck. Every new year, Babylon's most powerful man, the king, was stripped of his royal robes, slapped in the face, and forced to beg for the gods' forgiveness. Imagine being the most powerful man in the empire, only to be stripped of your royal robes, slapped in the face, and forced to beg for the gods' forgiveness. This was part of the Akitu Festival, Babylon's New Year celebration, honoring Marduk. To ensure the empire's prosperity, the king had to prove his humility. The high priest removed his crown and scepter, then slapped him hard. If the king cried, it was a good omen, proof of his devotion. If not, bad news. Some believed an unsatisfactory ritual could lead to revolts, but after the humiliation, the king was reinstated, his power restored. This wasn't just about tradition, it was a reminder that even the mighty ruled only with the gods' favor. Blood and butter lamps, Tibetan monks' extreme devotion. In Tibetan Buddhism, flickering butter lamps symbolize enlightenment. Traditionally fueled by yak butter, these lamps guided spirits through the darkness. But in times of crisis, when prayers alone were not enough, the most devout monks made a greater sacrifice, offering their own blood to fuel the sacred flames. This extreme act of devotion was believed to amplify spiritual energy, ensuring the gods heard their prayers. Why blood? In Tibetan belief, the body is an offering, existing to serve the higher cosmic order. By shedding their own blood, monks demonstrated ultimate selflessness and unwavering faith. Though the practice faded, butter lamps still glow in monasteries today, a reminder of unwavering devotion. Sky Burial, Tibet's open-air farewell. In Tibet, where frozen earth makes burial impossible and firewood is scarce, the dead are given not to the ground, but to the sky. Tibetan Buddhists see the physical form as an empty shell. Instead of burial or cremation, the body is taken to a sacred plateau where a sky burial master prepares it for its final journey. Then, huge vultures, daganis, or sky beings, descend. Far from mere scavengers, they are divine messengers, consuming the body to complete the soul's transition. The more vultures that arrive, the better the karma. Far from macabre, this is considered an honorable passage to the afterlife, reflecting Buddhist beliefs on impermanence. Though now regulated, the ritual still endures, a testament to Tibet's spiritual connection with nature. The Qing Dynasty's nail guards, status measured in inches. In China's Qing Dynasty, long nails weren't just a style choice, they were a symbol of luxury and power. Imperial women and scholars grew their nails up to 5 inches, proving they never worked a day in their lives. To protect these delicate status symbols, they wore gold, silver, and jade nail guards, encrusted with pearls and gemstones. Personal attendants handled everything. Dressing, eating, even scratching an itch. The longer the nails, the greater the respect. But let's be real. Daily life must have been impossible. Personal attendants did everything for them. Though the trend faded with modernization, Qing Dynasty nail guards remain in museums, relics of a time when status was measured in inches. The soul summoning ceremony, calling back the dead. In the Qing Dynasty, death didn't always mean departure. The Chinese believed the soul split into 3. One stayed in the body, one entered the afterlife, and one might linger. If someone died suddenly, Taoist priests burned incense and repeatedly called their name into wells or open fields. If the spirit didn't return, mirrors were placed in dark rooms to detect flickering shadows, while talisman prayers guided lost souls home. This ritual was most intense in battlefields, where families desperately sought fallen soldiers. Though the Qing Dynasty is long gone, soul-summoning traditions live on, especially during the Ghost Festival, when spirits are said to return. Sin Eaters, the ultimate sacrifice for the dead. In rural Britain, especially Wales, a chilling ritual once existed. Sin eating. The belief? When someone died, their soul carried sins. To free them, someone had to eat those sins. Literally, enter the Sin Eater, a social outcast who was paid to consume bread and ale placed on the dead body. It was believed this transferred the sins to the eater, allowing the deceased to rest in peace. But it came at a cost. Sin Eaters were shunned, feared as living purgatories, burdened by the sins of others. Over time, the practice faded, leaving behind only eerie legends of those who carried the weight of the dead. Victorian mourning portraits, photos of the dead. Death was an ever-present reality in Victorian Britain. And when a loved one passed, families turned to an unsettling custom: post-mortem photography. The deceased were dressed in fine clothes and posed to appear alive. Iron stands propped up stiff bodies, and if their eyes had closed, they were painted open in the final photograph. Why? For many, this was the only photo they would ever have of their loved one. Death wasn't hidden. It was embraced. As photography advanced, the practice faded. But if you ever stumble upon an old Victorian portrait, look closer. You might be staring into the eyes of someone long gone. History is stranger than fiction. From Goose Kings to Crocodile Gods, from Sin Eaters to Sky Burials, history is far weirder than we think. Which ritual shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more mind-blowing history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.